What's happening, players? Ryan here from BassMatter.com, taking you through the core bass learning program. In this lesson, we're going to make sense of those 7 chords out there and make sure that you're playing the right one and can hear the difference between them. Let's get to work. Seven chords. You've probably heard of these before. Let's talk about the big 5. We have a major 7, a minor 7, a minor 7 flat 5, and then a dominant 7, and then also a diminished 7. These 5 chords are very common and you're going to be running into them often. Why do we care as bass players? Well, the cool thing is that when we understand how chords work as bass players, it allows us to play more notes than just the root. So if somebody says we're going to play a C major 7 chord, a lot of bass players stuck on a root will play just the note C, and then you can start playing the triad. And if you know that there's a major 7 in there, you can add the major 7. But how am I getting this information? Well, for this to make a lot of sense today, make sure you go back, if you don't know already, and learn your major scale, because that's what we're going to be referencing this information from today. So the major scale video will help you get an idea, and make sure you pay close attention to the numbers or the scale degrees, and we're going to be using those today to construct our chords. So let's define a chord. A chord is a combination of 3 or more notes played simultaneously. Now, an arpeggio, or arpeggiating a chord, is an action that we take, and we're going to take the notes of the chord and play them one note at a time. So we are going to be arpeggiating chords today. So, first off, let's look at just a C major chord again, which is also our C major triad. 1, 3, 5. Of course, if you don't know your triads yet, go check out the triads video. It's going to help this lesson make a lot of sense. So 1, 3, 5, that is going to be our C major chord. Now we're going to turn it into a major 7, okay? And when it says major 7 or mage 7, that's an important thing to remember, because if it doesn't say specifically major 7, it's a different kind of 7 chord, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. So our numbers for our major chord was 1, 3, 5. If it says major 7, I've got 1, 3, 5, major 7. Now those are the notes from my C major scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm just going to be playing the 1, the 3, the 5, and the 7 to get a C major 7 chord. That is also true anywhere else on the fretboard. If I said let's go ahead and play an E flat major 7, I find my E flat, and I play my major 3, and I play my 5, and I play my major 7. And that is an E flat major chord. So that shape, 1, 3, 5, major 7, gives me a major chord, or major 7 chord. Now let's talk about minor 7s. Now minor 7s are an expansion on our minor triad, and that was 1, flat 3, 5. And our minor 7 is going to add in a flat 7. So 1, flat 3, 5, flat 7. And we can pull that and extract that shape right out of our natural minor scale that you've seen before. 1, flat 3, 5, flat 7. Minor 7 is those numbers, okay? Now let's take a look at the next one, and this one is confusing for a lot of people. It's the dominant 7 chord, okay? So a lot of people, when they see major 7 and they see just the number 7, they kind of tie those two things together and believe it's the same thing. They're actually quite different. Let's look at them. So a major 7 was 1, 3, 5, major 7. A 7 chord, or just a dominant chord, is still a major triad, 1, 3, 5, but it has a flat 7 in there, okay? So I've got 1, 3, 5, flat 7, and that is our common blues and funk type of tone out there, okay? That's going to be a 7 chord, not a major 7, not a minor 7, just a 7. A major 7 sounds like this, okay? Now we get our dominant chord out of our Mixolydian mode, and of course if you missed the modes, go check out the modes video. It'll help make a lot of sense of this information here. And our Mixolydian shape, if we take that and we look at the 1, the 3, and the 5, it's a major triad, but it has a flat 7, so that's the dominant. It's the 5 chord, okay? We talked about chords in our last lesson by talking about playing by the numbers. The number 5 gives you a dominant 7 chord if you were to play the 1, the 3, the 5, and the 7, okay? Again, traditionally, all of these rules can be bent, can be broken, but this is the static template that we're working with. Now let's talk about the 2 diminished tonalities out there. So first of all, what's diminished? Diminished is a tonality that has a flat 5 in there. So if I play a C and a perfect 5th, that is going to be my perfect 5th tonality, okay? If I add a diminished 5th, which is I'm just going to flat the 5, that tone there, which is very dark, very suspicious, very curious, is going to be the diminished tonality, okay? That's 1 and flat 5. Remember our diminished triad? 1, flat 3, flat 5. Now we come into the diminished 7 chords, okay? There are 2 of them. Well, there could be more, but the 2 I'm referring to today, the first one is called minor 7, flat 5, or half diminished. It has 2 names, okay? And the symbol for a half diminished is a little circle with a line through it. That means it's half diminished. And being half diminished means that it incorporates the numbers 1, flat 3, flat 5, flat 7, okay? This comes directly out of our 7th mode, which is the Locrian mode. And if you were to play the 1, the flat 3, the flat 5, and the flat 7, that occurs authentically and organically out of that particular shape. The next diminished chord is called the diminished 7, okay? Now keep in mind, let me make sure this is clear. If you see the chord symbol C diminished or C dim, it's referring specifically to the triad, 1, flat 3, flat 5. If you see C half diminished or C minor 7, flat 5, then it means that it's that diminished triad with a specific 7 that it's telling you. 1, flat 3, flat 5, flat 7 is a minor 7, flat 5, or else a half diminished, okay? If it doesn't say 7 on there, or it doesn't have the appropriate symbol for the diminished sign, then it's not a 7 chord. It's just 3 notes. It's just a triad. This is where we're starting to add that 4th note to make these 7 chords come to life. Now let's take a look at what's called fully diminished, okay? This particular shape does not occur organically in any of the modes, and it's synthetic. It's something that we create to bend out of the diatonic system. Let's look at the numbers. We have a full diminished, okay, or just diminished 7. 1, flat 3, flat 5, double flat 7. Now the double flat 7 can also be called a 6th, and I've called it a 6th before. Now from a music theory standpoint, it is incorrect to call it a major 6, but it's the same note. Some people will have a problem calling it a major 6 and they'll want you to call it a double flat 7 instead. Other people won't even care. In the end, it's still the same pitch that we're producing. So whatever way you need to remember what a diminished 7 is, whether it be 1, flat 3, flat 5, double flat 7, or 1, flat 3, flat 5, 6, it's going to work out for you just fine because you're going to be playing the correct scale degree as far as a tone and a pitch is produced, okay? So 7 chords, they're very, very powerful and very popular. What does it mean for us to play over the top of them? Well, our last lesson, which was referencing playing by numbers, a number 1 is going to be our C major scale, and that's our Ionian mode, and that gives us a C major 7. 1, 3, 5, major 7. We're going to go through all of them now. So the second one, which is the D minor, right, because 2s are minor, if we play the entire mode, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and play just the 1, the flat 3, the 5, and the 7, it's a flat 7, that's a D minor 7. The E Phrygian, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I play my 1, flat 3, 5, flat 7, it'd be an E minor 7. It's the same shape that it was on D as it is on E. Now F, which is our Lydian in the key of C, which is number 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I play my 1, 3, 5, major 7. So it'd actually be an F major 7. Next one's my mixolydian. Here's where things change up a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I play my 1, 3, 5, flat 7. We have a major triad with a flat 7. It's the only mode where that happens, and that's called the dominant 7. Oftentimes on paper you'll see it say just the note value. In this case it's G. It'll say G7. It won't say major 7, it won't say minor 7, it'll just say G7, and that indicates you're playing a dominant chord, and it's 1, 3, 5, flat 7, okay? 6 is our natural minor, or our Aeolian mode, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, flat 3, 5, flat 7. That'd be a regular A minor 7. Now, our Locrian mode, this is where we have to start distinguishing between our minor 7, flat 5, half diminished, and our full diminished. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I've got 1, flat 3, flat 5, flat 7. The Locrian mode organically produces the minor 7, flat 5, half diminished chord. Okay, this is an important one because the diminished 7, which was the 1, flat 3, flat 5, double flat 7, does not occur anywhere organically in the modes. Something to lock away. Guys, there are the 5 big 7 chords out there that you're going to want to be able to navigate and know your way through. So make sure you go through this video a couple of times if you need to understand what 4 numbers it takes to make most traditional 7 chords out there. And that, again, was 1, 3, 5, and 7. And of those 4 numbers, 1, 3, 5, and 7, we make some of them flat, and it produces our different types of chords. Our major 7, our minor 7, our dominant 7, our half diminished, and our full diminished 7s. Guys, this is Ryan signing off from BassMatter.com. Make sure you stay tuned for our next lesson, which is going to be demystifying how songwriters choose the chords that they're going to use to make a song. Stay tuned for that one. Make sure you find us online, guys. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Google+. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. We're going to continue to bring out great content for you to enjoy. This is Ryan signing off. We'll see you at the next lesson.